Golden Blue Tube here with you, and can you smell it? The college football season is getting closer and closer. So it's time to get serious and time to do some predictions. And I'm starting what I like to call my heaven and hell scenarios for the teams that I'm doing predictions for. So let's get this going. Yes, I have notes. So today, I picked out two interesting teams that I think are going in opposite directions, Army and NC State. First, we're going to start off with Army. Now, last year they finished 5-8. This team relies heavily on the run game. I didn't realize this. They finished third in the nation in rushing last year. They do it with a running back by committee. Last year, they finished the season with 3,863 yards with 45 touchdowns. It's the first time in 4 years, which they hit 4 times in a row, that they didn't hit 4,000 yards. 4 years in a row, 4,000 yards plus. Last year, didn't hit it, but still had third in the nation. They do lose Kelvin Hopkins, Kel Walker, and Connor Schlompka, but they do have experience coming back. At quarterback, we have Jabari Laws. Last year, he had 484 yards and 4 touchdowns. This is rushing stats. And Christian Anderson will be the one leading the running back core this year. Last year, he had 429 yards with 4 touchdowns. And then fullback Sandon McCoy will be the one to replace Schlompka at fullback position. Last year, he had 576 yards and 10 touchdowns. Almost a whole new offensive line. So this is a work in progress. But they know what they're doing. They recruit for the run, they play the run, and they're pretty darn good at the run. Last year, though, when opponents scored 24 points or more, they were 0-6. So they do rely on grinding out games and a low-scoring game. If you can score a lot of points, you're probably going to beat them. Last year, you did beat them. Okay, so this year, Camden Harrison, this is wide receivers. He's coming back. Last year, he's a long threat, by the way. Last year, he had 433 yards for 3 touchdowns, and the short threat, as we like to call it, will be Michael Roberts. He finished a little under 300 yards last year. The defense, they actually have a very good defense. They finished 30th in overall defense. The problem is they did lose 3 of their top tacklers, including linebacker Cole Christensen. They have size, but they have trouble getting in the backfield, so they need to work on that. So last year they finished 5-8. Let's look at their schedule real quick. Bucknell at home, at Rice, Oklahoma at home, at Miami, Ohio, Princeton at home, Eastern Michigan at home, Buffalo at home, Air Force at home, at Tulane, at UMass, at UConn, versus Navy. Now, heaven scenario that I have for them, they could upset Oklahoma at home and go on to a 10-win season and have a pretty good bowl. The hell situation is the wheels could fall off because of the inexperience and not being able to stop the other team and finish with a losing record. How do I think they're going to finish? I think they're going to finish 7-5. I think they'll have wins over Bucknell, Miami of Ohio, Princeton, Eastern Michigan, Tulane, UMass, and UConn. They have a weird schedule. They have a stretch where they have 4 home games and then 3 away games. But I do think they lose the season finale against Navy. So I predict 7-5, right in between that heaven and hell scenario. So now we move on to NC State. Dave Doeren, I think he's on a mildly hot seat right now. But right now, he's dealing with a whole new turnover in his staff. So we have offensive Tim Beck, Joe DeForest. As a West Virginia fan, I know that name. He's a disaster, so he's covering the safety, so probably your safeties are going to be a disaster. Brian Mitchell for cornerbacks, Charlie Wiles for defensive line, and Freddie Autry-Lindsay for the nickel. Tony Gibson, also from West Virginia, he has the responsibility of the defense now. Last year he split it with the defensive coordinator. Now it's all his. So that gives you a little bit of hope, but that Joe DeForest hire, I'm telling you guys, it's a bad hire. He's a bad egg. So anyways, Devin Leary looks like he's going to start as the quarterback. Last year, he threw for 1,219 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. He was injured, so that was in 8 games, but it was the latter 8 games. So this year, they're probably going to rely more on the run game. Zonovan Knight, He's going to anchor the running back core. He had 745 yards with 5 touchdowns. And Ricky Person Jr., he had 229 yards and 3 touchdowns. Both of those guys are coming back, so they do have experience at linebacker. And they do have a decent defense. They have Ibrahim Conte, Val Martin, and Alan McNeil. They anchor the defensive line. That is their strong suit. And their weak suit, the rest of the defense, the safeties and the linebackers. They had a ton of injuries, a ton of turnovers, so that is going to be a work in progress. You add the fact that Joe DeForest is your safeties boss. I don't see that turning out well. So, here's their schedule. They start out the season at Louisville versus Mississippi State at home, at Troy, Delaware at home, Florida State at home, Duke at home, at Clemson, Wake Forest at home, Boston College at home, at Syracuse, Liberty at home, and then at North Carolina. So, their heaven scenario. Well, in a perfect world, all their coaches would instantly, click and everything would go perfect and NC State goes to a bowl. The hell scenario, you have a total repeat of last year. So how does Golden Bluetooth see it? I'm actually going to pick the hell scenario. I think this is going to be an exact repeat of what happened last year, simply because there's new faces, the defense is a work in progress, and the running backs, they did lose a lot of experience. They have some experience coming back, but it does not look good for Louisville. I think they'll end up going 4-8 with losses to Louisville, Mississippi State. I think they lose to Troy, Duke, Clemson, Wake Forest, Syracuse, and North Carolina. North Carolina State will finish 4-8, and Dave Doeren's coaching seat will be red hot at the end of the year, which goes pretty well with what I picked, the hell scenario. Anyways, what do you think? Hell scenario for NC State is my opinion. 4-8, not going to a bowl. Dave Doeren possibly on his way out. That's all I got for you today. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll be back with some more heaven or hell scenarios on my next show.